What's up, everyone? This is Hav, and you probably recognize my voice as one of your co-hosts on the Cape podcast. And I'm sorry that I bleeped that word out. It's just that we are not allowed to swear in the first few seconds of a YouTube video. We gotta obey the algorithm. So Six and I created this podcast primarily to make content on all things superheroes. That would entail superhero movie reviews or TV shows or video games or discussing superhero news or even making in-depth discussion videos. And early on in the process of trying to launch this podcast, we had a goal in mind of reviewing every single installment of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in order of release date. And this is a goal that is still very much in our efforts to complete. However, Six and I quickly realized that by trying to accomplish this goal, there were some thoughts that crept into our intention that we had to address. The biggest red flag that we noticed was the lack of variety. We realized that by making reviews of every single MCU installment all in a row, all in one go, would require us to release over 30 podcasts. And by doing that, not only would it take us months to finish that goal, but at the same time, all that time that's being wasted, we're neglecting this other franchise company out there that you guys may or may not have heard of. They also have their own set of movies and TV shows, and they also have a huge gallery of iconic superheroes. And we're out here neglecting them. They're now getting no love from us, despite them fitting into the superhero genre. Putting the sacred timeline of the MCU and the canon continuity of the DCU aside, there are also other Marvel and DC projects that don't belong to either of those that we would still like to review and talk about. But if we continue to grind out the MCU on the podcast, we will not have any time to talk about it anytime soon. And not even Marvel or DC. What about the other superhero content that don't belong to either of those two? Like Invincible, or The Boys, or Watchmen. What about those? All of those wouldn't get talked about anytime soon either. Another red flag that came to our attention was prioritization. While Six and I are going crazy trying to get just one super review up for all of you guys, we realized that we wanted to have more variety in our content, just like I mentioned earlier. But we don't have a clear roadmap of what movies and content we would review in the months ahead of us. A step further, we wanted to prioritize certain movies or TV shows or content or franchises before the next MCU or DCU installment comes out. The problem is we don't know which franchises to prioritize and which ones we can push later down the road. The last red flag is that by me and Six not exactly having our shit together on our end would also mean that that would affect you, the audience. If we don't have a clear roadmap of what movies and shows we want to review in the months ahead of us, then you guys, the fans, won't know what to expect from us. And we want our supporters to know ahead of time what content they can be expecting. Because by telling our supporters what reviews to expect from us would help benefit you guys in a few different ways, which I'll get to a little bit later. So with all of that in mind, Six and I had to really sit down and discuss all the complications that came across our way and find a way to solve all these dilemmas that feel like just kind of came out of nowhere. And after a few hours of careful consideration, we believe that we have found a solution. And that brings us to our announcement today. So suit the fuck up, because we're about to get into it. So one of the things that me and Six get really hyped about, as I'm sure a lot of you guys also do, is when Marvel Studios goes to Comic-Con every few years and they announce their phase of movies. It's a big presentation, they show off all the movies, all the TV shows with dates attached to them, and it builds a lot of hype. And just over a year ago, James Gunn did the exact same thing where he went to social media and he announced his first chapter of the brand new reboot of his DC universe. So me and Six, we take a step back. We look at what these superhero giant icons are doing to build the anticipation to their fans, and how these sort of announcements not only relay the information that they need to know, but also tells the fans what to expect from them in the coming years. So what we thought is that we could take that exact same method and put our own spin to it. And that has led us to what we are announcing today. Today, we are announcing the Cape Shit Slate. The Cape Shit Slate is our very own slate of projects that we will be revealing to all of you guys as a way to both give you and us a clearer roadmap of what super reviews you can expect from us in the next couple of months. Now, our slate will be divided into chapters, each chapter centering around a different theme or franchise. By doing this, we can organize our super reviews better, we can have a much more clearer vision of the road ahead, and it even informs all of you to know what movies we will be reviewing in the future, which would help you guys do 3 different things, all of which are completely optional. The first is to build hype. That's a given. The second thing is to encourage you guys to also rewatch those movies, or maybe even watch the movie for the first time yourself. That way, when me and Six release a new super review, you also can be in on the conversation with us. And the third thing is to hopefully help you guys prepare questions for us, since at the end of every podcast, we leave a very last segment where we do a little mini Q&A. And of course, by announcing our Cape Shit slate, we already have the first chapter ready to go. As of recording this video, we released our first super review 5 months ago, all the way back to October, with the first Iron Man movie, which kicks off this chapter. And most recently, we just released our super review of The Incredible Hulk, the second installment of our Cape Shit slate. And as you can see by the first 2 projects, you probably already figured out what this chapter is going to be about, and you are correct. The first chapter of the Cape Shit slate will be focusing on the first phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which means that following The Incredible Hulk will be our super review of the infamous Iron Man 2, a film considered by many fans to be the worst of the Iron Man trilogy. And upon doing research for the Super Facts segment for Iron Man 2, I have found a lot of interesting behind the scenes details that help better explain why the movie turned out to be such a mess that it did. Following Iron Man 2 will be the introduction of the God of Thunder himself, the first Thor movie from 2011. Here we meet Thor Odinson, where he gets banished to Earth, stripped of his godlike powers, until he has proven himself worthy to wield Mjolnir once again. Following the Thor movie, we're going to be traveling back in time to the 40s during World War II times for our super review of Captain America, the First Avenger, the movie where we see Cap's backstory, the super soldier serum, and his journey through World War II fighting against Nazis and Hydra and a interesting specific primary colored face villain. And that leads us to our final project, the movie that the previous stories have been building up to, and that is of course 2012's The Avengers. Every comic book nerd's dream that we all had to accept that was never going to happen. And on one glorious day in 2012, not only did the world not end up ending, but we witnessed a dream come true as we saw our heroes interact with each other on the same screen. And we will be reliving that dream on this podcast when we finish off the first chapter of our Cape Shit slate. And that's it. That's our complete first chapter of the Cape Shit slate. So there you have it. Now you guys know what super reviews to expect from us in the next few months. We are excited to finally start rolling out all these super reviews to all of you guys. And we hope that you're just as excited as us to take this journey together on our first chapter. And just you wait till you see what we have planned for chapter 2. I'm not going to tell you what we're going to do. I want to build the anticipation. I will give you this small hint though. For chapter 2, we will not be staying in the MCU. I'll leave it at that. But with all that being said, hang up your capes, guys, because that is the first complete slate of Chapter 1. We really hope that you guys liked this form of announcement. We plan to do announcements just like these for every single chapter of our slates, as long as we do this podcast. And as always, Six and I are incredibly thankful for all of our supporters, all the ones who have reached out to us, who have listened to us, and more importantly, especially recently, for your guys' endless patience. Sometimes even we fail to underestimate how much work goes into putting in the segments for our super reviews, and that's why it takes a little longer than usual for us to get the reviews out. So we would be incredibly grateful if you continue to be patient with us as we release the next few projects to end off this slate. Well, that is the end of our video announcement. We hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, we hope to assemble again very soon. But until then, wait for our signal. Thanks, guys. Done.
Class act. Class act. Fucking perfect, dude. Let's end this shit.